Hi everybody, it's Mary here at Outdoors Mom, and it's hotter than heck outside right now. So I've been cutting back on my hiking schedule lately, but it's a perfect day to be indoors and making a video for you. So today I want to talk to you about um, going solo in the outdoors, particularly for women. Because sometimes when I tell people that I go camping by myself, I get a little bit of a sideways look. And sometimes people just tell me outright that that is not safe and I should not be doing that. So I want to talk about personal safety in the outdoors, in particular for women. So let me start by saying that as a woman in 21st century America, I'm aware that going just about anywhere, I have to be aware of my surroundings. I have to be aware of the people that are around me and what's going on around me, whether it's in an urban environment or whether it's in the backcountry. I think all females know that. We just know that we have to be aware of our personal safety. And if you're a woman who's dating, you got to be careful about, you know, watching your drink to make sure nobody puts something in your drink, and you have to be aware of every little situation that you might be in. And so I do acknowledge and I'm aware of the fact that just as a female, I may not be as safe going out and about by myself, but that doesn't stop me from going out. It doesn't stop me from going places and doing things that I enjoy doing. So um, I'm just obviously aware of personal safety, and I do take that into consideration. And I just, for some people, that may mean taking a personal safety class or a self defense class. For some people, that may mean carrying pepper spray or mace. And for some people, that may mean carrying a firearm. I don't carry a firearm. I just never felt like I really needed to do that, but I am just conscious and aware of what's going on around me, and I try to just be as safe as I possibly can. Um, but I still go out, I still do things that I enjoy. So let's talk about going out into the outdoors, hiking and backpacking and camping. My personal experience is that from the time I was a little kid, I've been camping. Um, Camping is a relatively inexpensive way to travel, so my folks would take us on camping trips quite a bit. And I was in Girl Scouts. My mom was my Girl Scout leader, and my mom was an awesome Girl Scout leader, by the way. So she took us on a lot of camping trips. And so as a child, I learned a lot of um, basic camping and outdoor skills from a very early age. And then as I became an adult, my son was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And so I went along for a lot of camping trips with the Scouts as well as an adult. And that really helped to lay a foundation of outdoor skills for me. I learned a lot through those activities. Um, the other thing that I've done um, is I've been a part of a couple of clubs. I was part of a hiking club, which allowed me to go on hikes with a group to places and locations that I might not have felt comfortable going to on my own. And then after the group hike, I was familiar with the area, familiar with the terrain, and I felt more comfortable going back to that same location and hiking solo. The other thing that I did is I took a class. Central Indiana Wilderness Club here in Indiana offers a backpacking class, and I'm sure that in a lot of areas similar clubs exist that offer classes for backpacking. And in a 1 day class, we learned a lot about all the different kinds of equipment and gear that you might need for backpacking, and learned a lot of practical skills. And then the follow up to that was a beginner backpacking trip. It was a weekend trip with a group of people that have experience and knowledge in camping and backpacking. And that just really boosted my confidence a lot and boosted my skill set, that I could practice skills in a safe environment with a group of people ahead of time. So those are sort of my background. even if you haven't been camping and hiking since you were a little kid, you can definitely take advantage of groups and clubs that offer classes and experiences for beginners. So, having said that, I have over the years, over the last 10 years or so, I've really worked on my skills quite a bit. So 10 years ago, I remember I was out hiking and I came to a creek crossing, and the water was just a little bit higher and moving kind of fast. It was a little higher than I was comfortable with, so I just backed up, went a different direction, chose a different trail. But since then, I recognize that that's a skill that I needed to work on, and I've intentionally gone to places where I could work on crossing creeks. And I watched some tutorials online and read online. I've read a ton of hiking and backpacking books and trail guides and informational websites. And other bloggers offer a lot of tips and advice, and so I just worked on that skill. And just I continue to increase those skills and gain more experience every year with different outdoor environments and terrains, and camping in different environments. The more I do, the more skills I acquire, and the more experience I acquire, the more comfortable I become with it. And I think that's important. So when I started backpacking, like I said, I went with a group my first time. My second time backpacking, I took my son with me, and we went back to that same place that I had gone with the club. And then my first time solo, I went back to that same place. So that was actually my third time backpacking in the same location on the same trail. And so I was familiar with the area, familiar with the terrain, and I felt like I could go back on my own and do that same trail on my own. And since then, I have mainly stayed to well-marked, well-traveled trails in state parks, state forests, and places that have well-traveled, well-marked trails. So I feel at the skill level that I'm at right now, I'm not like out, just wandering in the deep backwoods wilderness. If you're watching Bear Grylls and thinking that that's what I'm doing, no. So I'm staying on trails, and I'm staying in places that I feel comfortable with. And so some of the things that I do safety-wise, number one, I plan well in advance. I study the trail maps. I study online trail guides, and I talk to people on online forums and Facebook groups, and I get tips and advice from other people that have traveled or hiked on that same trail, and I'm really well prepared before I go. The other thing that I do is I make sure I leave behind a detailed map so my husband knows where I'm going, what trail I'm going to be on, and when I'm going to be back. So if for some reason I didn't come back on the date and time that I said I was going to be back, he knows to call somebody, and if search and rescue has to be called, they'll at least have a starting point. They know where to look, where I intended to be, and usually I'm studying the maps ahead of time and trying to figure out where I'm going to camp. So I have all of that planned out ahead of time, and I have a plan that I leave behind with a trusted family member. In my case, that's my husband. And I also am aware that, I just kind of have to be careful and plan ahead. As a backpacker at my current experience level, I probably overpack because I try to think in my mind everything that I'm going to need when I'm on a trail or when I'm on a camping trip. And so I just really prepare for everything. And so my experiences, I've been backpacking a handful of times over the last few years, and I've really enjoyed it. So far I haven't come into any major life or death experiences. I'm aware that could happen. There are, potential wildlife hazards. Here in Indiana, there aren't a lot. There might be bobcats in the area. There could potentially be cougars, although they're so rare and so elusive. I've never seen those. There might be coyotes. But again, they're so elusive. They don't tend to come around humans. The biggest issue that I've come into contact so far is raccoons. So I've learned to eat my dinner and camp far apart so that they're not attracted to the smell of the food. And I bear bag all of my food, which is a skill that I learned in a backpacking class, to pack all of my food and hang it from a tree, and that keeps wildlife and wild animals out of my camp. So, I do all of those safety precautions, and most of my experiences have been very pleasant. I very rarely run into very many people. So a couple of experiences, I was camping, actually I was car camping in a place, and I planned on car camping the first night, and then I had my backpack with me. I moved my car to a trailhead, hiked out. I was at the Dean Wilderness, and I hiked out the Peninsula Trail and stayed overnight, and then backpacked, hiked back to my car the next morning. So it was a 2-night weekend trip. And the first night that I was in the campgrounds, there's a horseman's camp. Pull my car in, and it's raining. And so there was a couple of guys that were camping down the way from me, and one of them came over and he's like, "Look, I don't want to come across as like a creeper or anything, but I just wanted to offer, we have an awning, and you're more than welcome to come and sit under the awning with us to get out of the rain if you'd like." So the guy actually acknowledged that it's kind of awkward for a guy to approach a gal in a single solo female in a camping environment. But he's like, "Look, I don't want to come across as a creeper, but it is raining, so I thought I would just be nice and offer an awning." Other experiences that I've had encountering guys, most of the time when you're out hiking, you nod your head, you say hello, you wave, and that's about the extent of it. Once when I was hiking, a group of guys approached me. They stopped me and said, "Hey, do you know how much further it is to the end of the trail?" And I said, "Yeah, you're about halfway there." They kept going that way, I kept going that way, and that was about it. I've just never really had any really frightening experiences out on the trail. That's not to say that doesn't happen, but I feel like I'm probably pretty safe most of the time. And statistically speaking, women are more frequently attacked, raped, or abused by somebody that they know rather than a stranger. And statistically speaking, more attacks and acts of violence happen in urban and populated areas. That's just a matter of population density. But it's actually pretty infrequent, pretty rare that people get attacked, or even females get attacked out in the backcountry. Incidents are actually pretty low, and so most guys, I think, recognize that. So when I see another hiker, male or female, "Hey, how you doing?" And that's really about it. We are all there for the same reason. We want our peace and quiet. We want to be left alone, and that's most of the time that's what happens. So that's not to say that a bad situation can't happen. I acknowledge that it could, but that doesn't stop me from doing things that I enjoy. Thousands of people are injured and killed every day in car accidents, but that doesn't stop us from driving our cars. We just acknowledge that we need to take safety precautions. We wear our seatbelts, and we do the best we can to obey traffic laws and avoid car accidents, but we still do it. We don't avoid doing activities that are dangerous. I'm perfectly fine when I'm out in the woods, but going into an urban environment, I hate going downtown, as a matter of fact, but there are things that I like to do. I like to go to the museums. I like to go out, and, as much as I like to be in the wilderness and out in the backcountry, I also like to enjoy city life from time to time. But going downtown and parking garages and just navigating the urban scape. I'm actually more nervous doing that than I am being out in the wilderness or out in the woods. So to those of you that are city dwellers, I applaud you, because I freak out every time I have to go downtown. But I still do it. So to anyone who's watching, particularly women, if you have any fears about going out, and in particular going out camping or going out into the woods and hiking, just try it. There are ways that you can build your skills and build your confidence through groups and clubs. You can work on those skills and you can build your confidence level gradually over time. You can take baby steps a little bit at a time, and you can do it. So, especially for women, but to everybody who's watching, I encourage you to try outdoor activities, camping and backpacking. It's a rewarding and fun activity, and don't be afraid to go solo. Those people who tell you it's dangerous, well, they're not wrong, but there's a lot of things that are dangerous, and you just recognize those dangers. You do what you can to mitigate and to try to be safe. And you enjoy your life, and you continue to do activities that are enjoyable for you, even if some people think you probably shouldn't. So that's what I have to say about going solo in the outdoors and backcountry camping. Hey, it's just like anything else. There may be danger to it, but I enjoy it, and I definitely take precautions. I research. And I've built my skills up over time that I feel comfortable enough doing that. So, thanks for watching. For something to watch out for the future, for any of you who don't feel comfortable with camping or you've never been camping before, I'm going to do a video series, Camping 101. I'm going to go over some basic camping skills with you. So I hope you subscribe and follow along. Follow my blog. My blog is outdoorsmom76.wordpress.com. On Instagram, I'm outdoorsmom76. And here on YouTube, I'm outdoorsmom76 as well. So you can find me, follow along, and here real soon I'm going to be giving you some basic Camping 101 videos. Thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe. Have fun in the outdoors.